Hey guys, today we're going to be working with Sum and Sumx, alright? Now this is sort of like an esoteric topic for those of you that are only in for Excel, but for Power BI it's essential, alright? Sum and Sumx are like night and day. Why? Sum is a really simple function to use, but it's not that flexible. And Sumx, we're going to notice that it takes a little bit of while to get used to, but man, it's going to solve a ton of your problems in Power and Power BI, alright? It's going to be a workhorse for pretty much every single modeling problem that you have in Power BI. So let's get started. You're going to learn with examples. Alright guys, let's get started. We're going to be talking about Sum and Sumx. You're going to notice that Sum is a really simple function to use. It's pretty much the exact same as the Sum function in Excel we all know and love. And Sumx, on the other hand, it's a little bit harder to get into, but it's much more flexible, and it's going to be your workhorse when you're working with Power BI or Power Pivot. There's absolutely no way you can even think of becoming proficient Power BI without actually getting to know Sumx. So let's get started. The first thing that we're going to do is figure out that this file has no data. So let's import the data, and we do that by going over here to get data, and then telling it that it's going to come over from Excel. Make sure that you connect, and the file is named part1 for some reason. All right, this file that we're going to be working on is sales for a restaurant. It's a very simple table, and here we have it. All right, make sure that you select table 1, the one with the little blue icon on top, and not sheet 1, never sheet 1. All right, table 1 with the blue icon is going to bring just the data. Sheet 1 is going to try and bring everything in the worksheet. So remember, that's not what we want. We should be seeing a preview over here, and you just go ahead and click load and wait for it to load. All right, so it's going to take a little bit of a while, and that's it. All right, you should see the result over here and right here in this little waffle iron thing over here. All right, first thing that we want to do is change the formatting. So make sure that the price is in dollar amounts. So select dollar amounts right here for price, and for income select percentage amount, and that's it. All right, so there we go. We've changed price and income. And for those of you that didn't catch where these icons were, they're in the modeling tab. All right, modeling tab, price and percentage. All right, guys. So as I said, this is a restaurant table, a restaurant sales table, and we want to figure out a couple of things. With Sum, we want to calculate the sum of total sales and a table that shows the total sales by category. Now that is perfectly feasible, but the last one, show the total net income in dollar amounts. Considering that we have the income as a percentage, we're going to fail there. And that's where we're going to see the limitation of Sum. Then Sumx is going to come to the rescue, and we're going to learn about how we would go about doing that using Sumx, all right? So let's get started. First things that we have to do is head over to our Sum tab, and it's going to ask us to calculate the sum of total sales. Now, we go over to modeling, we click new measure, and for that measure, we're going to say total sales. That's going to be really simple. We just type in sum, and we tell it to sum the price, all right? The price of everything that was sold. That should give us back the total sales. Close the parenthesis, bring on the, let's say, this is a measure, so we're going to see the results in a card. So grab total sales, drag it over here to the card, and there we go, $59,000 in total sales. It's a little bit unreadable right now, so I'm going to select my total sales. Notice how we have a yellow lining right here. So let's select the dollar amount, and let's tell it to go for 2 decimal places, and that's it. All right, easier to read. Finally, let's head over to this paint roller right here. It's called format. Go over to data label and display units in none. All right, so there we go. 58 grand in total sales. That's what we got. Sum is really simple to use and understand. It's pretty much, it does what it says. It grabs the entire column, the price column, sums up the total, and that's what it spits back out right here. All right, now let's see the total sales by category. Sum is flexible in the sense that it allows for filters that come from either tables or charts. All right, so if we insert our matrix right here, and we grab the category, drag it right here, and the total sales, drag it right here, voila, we get the total sales by category. So it was flexible enough to allow us to know that, say, for example, we sold 12 grand of wine, whereas for fajitas, we only sold $50 in fajitas. So that's pretty much a non-starter for a restaurant, but that's not the point here, all right? The sum allows us to filter out stuff by table or by column. However, we're going to run into a problem right here. Number 3, show the total net income in dollar amounts. Okay, So let's get a little bit into finance right here. We have the price and the income percentage. That means that for every tisane that I sold for 25 bucks, I am going to get 38.89% in income. If I want to figure out how much that was in dollars, I'd have to multiply 25 times 38.89, and that would give me a dollar amount. If I repeated that for every single line, the sum of every single one of those dollar amounts that I calculated, that would be my total income. Now, if you got a little bit lost in that explanation, don't worry. We're going to get to that and we'll see it visually. I mean, we'll see it done visually. But right now, I just want you to get a guess of what it is that we're doing. All right? So right now, you know that we have to multiply price times income and add up the results. That's it. Okay, so let's go ahead and do it. Let's click modeling. Let's click new measure. And let's do total income wrong. All right. So what we're going to do is sum of price times income. All right. I'm sorry, margin. I'm sorry. Well, pretty much it won't allow me to do that because sum, as you can see, is only going to allow for a single column. So for starters, that's a problem because that means then I'm going to have to add up sum. All right. And now we have it. Total income wrong. All right. So let's select something else so it's visible. Total income, drag it out here to your table and let it fall. All right. And we can figure out why it's wrong. All right. It's really easy to spot. We have total sales of $58,000 and a total income, a total net income that is after costs of $13 million. Something went hideously wrong here. All right. Something was way off the scales because there's no way I can get $13 million in income if I just had $58,000 in total sales. If there's a business like that works like that, let me know right now because I want in, legal or not. All right, those margins are crazy. So since we are violating every single rule of business out there, then that probably means that our calculation is wrong. Why? Well, this is what what Power BI tried to do. It added up the entire price column, and then it added up the entire income column, and then it multiplied the results of both. Now, that is absolutely wrong. Remember, what it should have done is price times income, line by line, and multiply and add up the individual results. That would get us something a little bit more decent, all right? So that's where we leave sum behind, because that's where you know that sum has reached the limit of its usefulness. So let's head over to Sumx. Sumx is going to come in to save the day. How? Well, let's get back to our table right here, data. And I'm going to start off by doing a calculated count to show you what it is that Sumx is going to do. All right. So if you want to solve this in Excel or by hand, you'd probably go ahead and add a new column called income in dollar amounts, and that would be equals to price times income. All right. So this is pretty much going to give us the income amount in dollars, dollar amount. And 2 decimals, please. All right, there we go. So we have $9.72 of income for a design that was sold at $25. All right. Notice how the fact that we did it with a calculated column is going to allow us to multiply both items line by line. Well, that's it for the calculated column. Guys, Sumx is going to do the exact same thing. All right, but it's going to do it way out there in the ether, and you're not going to see the results until you use the measure in one of your visuals, all right? So let's see how that works. New measure, and it's going to be called income in dollar amounts. Dollars by Sumx. All right, so check it out. I'm going to type in Sumx, and the table, it shows us two arguments, right? The first one is the table, the second one is the expression. The first one that is called the table, well, it's asking us in which table is it going to apply? In which table is it going to operate? Well, it's going to be on the table 1, all right? Because we didn't change the name, it's called table 1 right now. And the expression it's going to apply is going to be price times income, all right? And there we go. Now, let's create something right here. Oh no, let's use a card. Let's create a card and let's grab income in dollar amounts by Sumx. You go right out here and there we go. There we have it. $16,999. All right. Let's add some formatting. Make sure that it is legible. Data label none. There we go, $16,985 by income, whereas Sum gave us $58,000 in total revenues. So that makes far more sense. Now, how did SumX work? Well, check out the definition. It is used to add an expression on a table. The function has two great advantages that make it super versatile. First, and this is the most important one, or at least the one that we care most about, it iterates on the table, calculating the expression line by line and adding the result, all right? So what SumX did right here, notice it's right here, we told it, go ahead on table 1 and then apply the following expression, price times income, all right? Price times income. So what's it doing is, SumX is going ahead and going line by line, price times income, and setting up the results somewhere in memory, all right? Which is this one that we had. The price times income, and it saves up the result somewhere in memory. And then when it has a long list of results, like this column, it adds them up, all right? It adds them up. So technically, it works in the same fashion as a calculated column, all right? However, it has more advantages. Why? Well, thanks to the second point right here, which I'm going to go over up later, all right? Right now, you just have to remember that the first advantage of SumX, or of any X function in Power BI, is that it iterates on the table. It calculates the expression line by line and then adds up the results, okay? I hope that was clear. So let's check it out. I'm going to insert a matrix right here. I'm going to bring in category, and I'm going to bring in the income dollar amounts by SumX. That is going to give me, that is going to return pretty much how much income was generated by each one of these categories, all right? And we can compare that to total sales. So we have wine sold $12,000 in total, and it generated $5,000 in revenue. The rest, that was cost, all right? Whereas fajitas, we sold 50 bucks of fajitas and generated $5, all right? So fajitas are a terrible business to be in, at least for this restaurant. All right, guys. So, second instruction that we're being asked to do is calculate the sum of net income as a percentage of the total amount. So, what I want to know is, say, for example, this $5,000, what percentage do they represent of this $16,000, all right? And we're going to use SumX for that. There are other ways to go about it, but I want you to learn the second advantage of SumX, and that is that it accepts tables as an input argument, all right? So guys, there's a ton of functions here in Power BI which output tables, all right? Which the result is a table. You can't read a table within any of these visuals. However, you can read them using SumX. So how will that work? Say, for example, I'm going to use a new measure here that is going to be called total income for restaurant. That's going to give me a total income for the restaurant, and the table in this instance, instead of being table 1, I'm going to type in all, open parentheses, and then table 1, all right? So what I'm telling Power BI right now is that we're going to be grabbing the all function, and we're going to be applying it on table 1. So instead of respecting the filters that we had right here, I know you can't see them right now because for some reason this is way large, but instead of respecting the filters, instead of saying, oh, we want to calculate the income for wine and for fajitas and about your filters, all right? Grab the entire table. So that's what SumX is doing, and SumX is going to respect that. Good luck trying to get that to work with Sum. All right, and then the expression mode, it's pretty much the exact same one. Price times income. There we go. Close the parentheses, and let's go check out the results. This should get me back $16,000 for every single category, all right? Why? Well, because of the all. The all, what it did was grab the table, get rid of all of the filters, wine, pizzas, and tres, whatever, and get it back to its normal size. So it's going to tell me that the total income for the restaurant was $16,000 across each and every single one of these categories. All right, guys? So, number 2 about SumX is that it accepts a table as an input argument. Say, for example, in this instance, we use the all function. All grabs a table, removes the filters, as I said before, and returns an unfiltered table. All right? SumX can grab that unfiltered table and work with it. All right, guys. So, now let's calculate. And this is going to be a very simple measure. The income as a percentage of total. And that is going to be it's going to be really simple. It's going to be income in dollar amounts by SumX divided by total income for restaurant. That's it. All right. Grab it down here, and let's make sure that it's in percentage amount with 2 decimal places. There we go. And now we know that the wine generated 31% of the total income for the restaurant, whereas the fajitas, which really need to step up their game, generated 0.03% for the total percentage of the restaurant. All right, guys? Now, stuff that my classroom students struggle with, it's the second item, that fact that it accepts a table as an input argument. Those of you guys that understand that, you're well on your way to become a Power BI master. Why? Because the most powerful aspect of Sumx is that you can write up other functions in Power BI using filter, using all, using summarize, using pretty much anything that outputs a table, and then you can catch the table in a Sumx measure and use it there, all right? If you don't use Sumx to catch the table, you're probably not going to be able to catch it with anything else, all right? So that's the wonder, the marvel of the X functions. However, for you to understand the full power of Sumx or any other X function, you need to understand all sorts of relatives, and there's all sorts of other tables that we can use. All right, guys? So, well, that's it for Sum and Sumx. So both are useful, all right? Don't go ahead thinking that Sum we should consign it to a drawer and forget about it. No. Sum is useful because it is simple, easy to use, cheap on memory, and well, it's going to get the job done for really simple stuff. For more complicated stuff, you have Sumx. It's going to iterate on the table, and it's going to accept the table as an input argument. All right, guys? All right. Chew on what I just told you, and make sure that you understand the difference correctly and the potential of Sumx. It's going to come in really handy because that is going to be your second most useful function in Power BI. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, and you know the rest. All right, see you next week. Do you want to be an Excel god? Our online course will turn you into an Excel master in only 90 days. Excel is the most important tool in the office, but almost nobody knows how to use it. Most people dive right into Excel with no formal training and never use the right tools. And thus, they end up delivering messy reports that are full of mistakes, and they end up hating their jobs. In reality, Excel is really simple to use and can do your job for you, if you know how to use it. But you have to pick the right place to learn from, or you'll only end up more confused with all of the different tools and functions that Excel has to offer you. So, what can you do? Our Excel course is tailor-made for you. We're going to teach you Excel, all of Excel, using real-life examples. From simple exercises to full-fledged business case studies. Take the online course and you'll be an Excel god in only 90 days. The course consists in more than 45 lessons and 15 case studies, all with their detailed solutions completely recorded in video. And you're going to be able to access them whenever you want, whatever you want. Best of all, you're going to have lifetime access to the course, and you're going to get any of the updates that we're constantly putting out for free. Even better, when you get our course, you'll have free access to our full Visual Basic and Macros course, and also to our Power BI course, all with just one single purchase. More than 3,000 students have passed through our classrooms. We've attended companies like Kodak, IBM, Cemex, HP, Continental, DB Schenker, and more. So, if you want to absolutely master Excel, make sure that you sign up now. You will become an Excel god. A to Excel.